Today, we are really a big opportunity to share together the last proposal of Life Farm. That's absolute innovation. We presented the first time in Budapest, but now we are organized several events in terms of training and support for IBOs in Lifer. Today we could really summarize also some experience from each of us, but also from me. That's important to share the testimonials, experience from all the world of Lifer. But really, I start with a traditional presentation of the product, how Cellnergy FootCharge, that's the absolute innovation of Life Farm, is able to support and specifically how it's able to reawaken dormant cells. Because I could immediately explain this situation of dormant cells. It's not so difficult to find today because of this situation is strictly connected with some situation and event that we find regularly in our lifestyle and daily lifestyle. Because of there is a strictly connection between aging, obviously, and dormant cells. Today, the challenge, as you know, in the world is re-stimulate, regenerate, and in a sort of way face the aging process. We have a big, as you know, blockbuster product that's Laminine that already demonstrate how it's possible, thanks to the product, in that case Laminine, for example, modulate the telomerase reduction. And so we have the possibility, as you know, to have a big pillars in terms of cellular aging phase. But today we want to underline how really it's not only a big pillars that we have in our hand, but we have also, in that case, another pillars that the FootCharge device. Every day, as I explain you, every day billions of our cells slow down or different, but it's a synonymous. It's become dormant. Dormant cells, it's in a really briefy way, it's the cells that demonstrate less energy, is typical cells that impair repair, and generally speaking, there is a weaker circulation. That's, for example, the more easy indicators that give us the suspect of these dormant cells in our body. And what's, as I told you before, the reason why, the best or the main important reason that are on the basis of this process. First of all, aging, okay. Sedentary lifestyle, second point, really very important, stress, and poor diet in terms of richness, in terms of micronutrients, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and so on. That's really important. So the problem of dormant cells is not only connected and correlate to big or very important disease situation. It's a sort of daily situation that every day we could and we have to face. What's the important support that you have in our hand to go in this direction? First of all, we have the possibility to point out some specific symptoms. Because of, yes, I have already explained some indication in which this kind of approach could be useful. The approach is maintain the capability of our body to face, to combat this kind of aging process, accelerate, as a sort of booster. But we have other specific indication that underline and point out how really it's in progress, this situation. One of these problem that we find absolutely in worldwide scenario is the problem that is connected with the circulation. The poor circulation in lower limbs, for example, it's a big problem that characterizes 1 in 3 adults in the world, and this is a typical symptoms of the dormant cells. And so in that case, strictly connected with the circulation system. Another important aspect that combine and I want to point out to you now in my presentation is the fact that aging process, specifically after age 40, could be really a column of mitochondrial activity declines. And we could find this problem, for example, connect with fatigue, with difficult to cognitive attention, focus on some activity that we bring in our daily life working. And so there is another important pillars in our scenario. Yes, the first one is a big problem connected with circulation, the second one with the aging process, and the third one, that's not a problem but an opportunity. Our worldwide scenario today demonstrates and in a sort of way request a growing demand on non-invasive wellness technology. And so it's absolutely mandatory to use a product like amine to modulate the shortness of telomeres and to the stimulation of telomerase. But it's not enough. Today we have another important device that absolutely enter in our protocol, and that's in that case our Cellnergy FootCharge. That's obviously strictly connected with this high demand for non-invasive wellness technologies. Okay, that's obviously the product. Really few words about the product, because I'm one of you the first time that hear this kind of presentation, and so we has to repeat and in a sort of way retract every point, every steps that we have to go through the products. The product is absolutely innovative because why? Because it's absolutely today confirmed how our nervous system is the basis, is the source, is the control serve of our regeneration. Now, all studies, all documentation, all publication, scientific publication in the Medline confirm how the control center of regeneration process is connected with our nervous system. Because our nervous system is a sort of internal body's communication. It's a sort of highway that put together and put in connection all our organs, but specifically our brain with our, in that case, feet. It's a sort of a highway that put all these organs, but throughout the nervus, vagus nervus, that's specifically the location that is capable, is effective to transmit this signal. And so our body's internal communication network is based on this nervus, that's the vagus nervus, but it's really important because put together and put in contact these different organs and condition of our body, brain, and in specific case of today, feet. In fact, the problem is not the nervous system, but the aging combined with the nervous system. And the problem is that the nervous system during the aging process weakens the signals. and the effect show up in everyday life. And with what kind of symptoms? I explained already you before some indication, but now we could focus on balance and coordination decline, reduced circulation, as I told you, numbness, tingling, fatigue increase, slow recovery from muscle fatigue, and the sleep that becomes less restorative. That, for example, summarize of what kind of symptoms and signals could underline the point out our nervous system sort of way declines. Okay, that's obviously a scenario in which we have to maintain focus. But what and in what way our feet enter in this process? I would like to point out and repeat that our feet aren't just for walking, but they represent our body's neurological foundation. Think about the fact that today scientific research confirmed that over 7,000 nerve endings connect our organs, joint, muscle, feet, and as you know, there is really a word in this specific system. It's really important, the feet, not only for, in that case, walking, but for the maintenance of this balance. The balance of this situation is the base of our wellness. And this is the reason why a company like Life Farm, that, as you know, specializes in regeneration, is the regeneration company, as I already confirmed you in our previous webinars. A company like Life Farm decided to invest our R&D development and research in this kind of sector. As the regeneration company, with the R, in this case, best regeneration company, is in this case with the big R. Yes, okay, that's what I would explain you. The company creates solutions that support, yes, absolutely, the body's ability to repair, restore, thrive at every level our body. And so is really mandatory for this kind of company with the Life Farm to focus on a device able to give a revolution in the wellness device, able to support and sustain nervous system, circulation, and obviously cellular energy, thanks to the process of regeneration. That's the reason why Life Farm decided to enter in this kind of specific market. But as you know, Life Farm, when Life Farm decided to go through in a market, decided also to develop faster the blockbuster, in that case, blockbuster company in this kind of sector, in this kind of market. And this is the reason why this new technology is innovative, because of its a combination of the three main technologies in the world able to powerful regeneration. Cellnergy FootCharge is powered by three advanced wellness technology, focalized and specifically effective in the activation of our body's natural regenerative process. The first technology is the CellWave trademark bioactivation, and so CellWave Bioactivation. It's a new technology proprietary of Life Farm, and so this in that case, Life Farm is proprietary of this kind of technology. And specifically, this technology awakens nerve activity and all neuromuscular communication. The second pillars of this technology or this product, the second pillars in terms of new technology proposed from Life Farm is the Terahertz Resonance. 1 terahertz is able to reactivate cellular energy and frequency of optimal health. Last proposal in terms of technology in this new product is the infrared thermotherapy. When we speak about infrared, we speak about a range between 38 to 45 centigrade, and it's the perfect therapy to penetrate deep into tissue, and in that case stimulate blood flow and regenerative activity. And so the real innovation is in the combination of these three main technology. Yes, because that's probably the crucial innovation within the three main technology that we have already presented. CellWave Bioactivation is a new technology, and the innovation is connected with the fact that it's completely different from traditional EMS devices that today or till today use generic electrical pulse. CellWave Bioactivation is completely different because mimics the same wave patterns that our brain naturally sends through your body. And so that's important. That's really important that everyone that attend today to our webinar understand. And so the first important differentiation and positioning is combined with this new technology, trademark, in that case completely different from traditional EMS, because are in the condition to simulate in the same wave in which our brain naturally sends the pulse, the natural electrical pulse of our body. That's really, really, really important because of it's not only innovation and a new approach, but it is already scientifically confirmed with, as you know, in the bottom of slides, we have already a publication of Journal of Clinical Neurophysiology that confirmed how this kind of device is able to stimulate the nerve conduction, and it's able to modulate and partially solve fatigue within neuropathy disease. That's important because, as you know, Life Farm put as priority and as mandatory the scientific confirmation. The second technology is, in that case, the terahertz. I already explained you how is a new approach. Don't forget our Cellnergy device, wellness device. That's the first pillars of our new series of devices able to maintain our health style and health situation. And in that case, we could find also in this new technology the second pillars of our product. In that case, Terahertz Resonance is a sort of resonance that helps remind your cell how to function and their optimal frequency to harmonize our body, but thanks to a natural electromagnetic rhythm. And so in that case, thanks to this technology, we could restore communication between cells, improve energy balance, and support overall cellular repair and function. Obviously, also in this case, we have scientific confirmation about the efficacy of this kind of technology. Third technology is the infrared. It's new, and so infrared thermotherapy is absolutely new one. Not probably new how the previous two technology, but thanks to this already confirmed from Journal of Photomedicine and Laser Surgery, that already confirmed how this kind of infrared thermotherapy really boosts our microcirculation by up to 80%. 80%, not 18 or 8, 80. 80. And so it's really it's a huge result thanks to this kind of therapy. It's the thermotherapy, thanks to the fact that in that case, our device, our Cellnergy FootCharge device, is able to control this kind of thermotherapy between 38 to 45 centigrade degree. That's the perfect interval, it's the perfect latency in which we have the best results of this kind of technology. It's not enough, no, because of, as some of you already know, but I repeat this real crucial aspect, our product, our new device, is able to propose 6 different targeted modes that are a sort of customization of the personalization of the specific needs of each of us. As you know, each of us is different, and so LifeArm is in his R&D activity thought how it's important also to permit to each of us to adapt. And that's the reason why the product offered to us the possibility to decide what modes. We have 6 modes. The first one is relax, and so there is a specific support for deeper sleep and generally speaking nerves fatigue. The second mode is need, and that's specifically able to boost the circulation and generally muscle tension. The third mode is tap. The tap and these 3 mode improve balance, increase coordination, and reaction speed of our body. 4 mode squeeze, enhance brain body communication for clarity and focus. As I told you before, one of the problems that we immediately feel when something do not work as we want is the problem of focusing, cognitive attention, clarity. That's the mode that help us to solve or face this kind of problem. Mode 5, pulse. In that case, is numbness, tingling, and neuropathy-related symptom is solved of. In that case, is not solved completely, but modulate and benefits thanks to the mode 5. The 6th mode is the last one. This the strength, as the name is specifically dedicated to support muscle tone and helps and prevent atrophy. That's another problem that sometimes, specifically in elderly patient, could arise and appear. Okay, and really, it's not. We speak on this kind of approach easy way, but really that's important research and development from LifeArm to obtain this kind of differentiate customized and personalized approach. I already explained you, and so I don't want to bore you, but mode 1, relax, and if I want to use sleep, I want to identify and focus this kind of mode for all situations in which we help our body enter faster in a more restful state, for example, sleep situation. Second need, I repeat, but with the more focused, I put this kind of, and I suggest this kind of mode when we want to solve, or for in a sort of way helps our lower legs after, for example, standing or walking, or the situation of tightness in the calves and so on. But as also our image and picture show, it's clear how it's important this mode 2 to our feet. The same, but in that case under our feet is mode 3, slower reflexes. In that case, we have a sort of stimulation of reflex zone. As you know, there is important science based on this kind of approach, and also the reflex zone, thanks to the mode 3, could absolutely receive the natural and more physiological rhythm pulse to reawaken sensation and then nerve activity. Squeeze, in that case, mental clarity, motor control, brain-body signaling, if critical for alertness, in that case, could absolutely receive the help from this kind of mode. Mode 5, I repeat, but because of I would in a sort of way fix in our and in your mind this really step also to favor your presentation to your customer, to your colleague, to your friends, in also this kind of process. And so modifies gentle pulse, there is a sort of comfort and restore sensation, specifically combined with the stimulation of microcirculation. The last one, the strength, that specifically used for foot muscle reactivation, fall prevention. For example, I remember that during our convention in Budapest, I underline and point out how, for example, elderly patient has a problem. This problem is the in that case the falls, and the falls could be absolutely prevented thanks to this mode that's not 3 but 6. There is a sort of a small modification in the presentation. Okay, and so I quite finished, and so as you know, our device, our new device, it's not only a device, it's not only a support for our well-being, but it's really a holistic approach focused on the regeneration, daily regeneration of our body. That's a sort of a bullet point, all the benefits that you could experience if you decide to buy and to use this new device from Life Farm. I like very much to use these terms, the protocol. The protocol for me is important. The protocol is not 30 minutes to use or 3 days. As you know, I want also to prepare for you a sort of protocol, a regeneration protocol. The regeneration isn't instant, it's a process. And that's the reason why we want to propose in this slide the protocol that our steering committees, a scientific steering committee in life, I propose you. For an immediate regeneration response, we suggest, obviously, to start within 1 to 30 minutes, but I absolutely suggest you to go through the next step within 1 to 3 days for regenerate, reset of all our body, and finally to continue this treatment in 4 weeks and beyond for a long-term regeneration in action. That's probably the huge solution that we want to propose in a sort of pathway. Yes, it's a pathway that it's able to consistent give you daily a support for your nervous system cellular repair mechanism and regeneration of all our body. That's really important. And so don't forget also this slide. If we start for the first phase, obviously, my suggestion, we start with 10 minutes a day for the daily regeneration. We suggest to sit comfortably and place your bare feet on the pad. That's the process to use the product, the device. It's really easy to use, and so don't forget or don't worry about the fact that, don't forget this information and this indication, but really don't worry, because it's easy to use the device. And so sit comfortably, select your preferred mode, 6 mode if you remember, choose your heat setting, low or high, and relax yourself for 10-20 minutes, once or twice maximum daily. Okay, I already explained how there is a copyright, trademark on the first technology that LifeArm insert in this device, but now in this slide I show you, and I'm happy to show you all the certification and quality standard certification that the proton received. And so patent pending, CE and UL certified, ISO 91, 4001, and 9S methodology, recognized, that's really last but not least very important, it's recognized by the American Society of Aging. That's real huge recognition from a more credible scientific society, in that case Aging Society, that confirm how the product is aligned with standard for aging wellness. That's a sort of figures, a picture. I don't want to deepen in each of these comparison, but I want also to give you a picture about how today this is the most important innovative device, in that case Cellnergy FootCharge, compare versus other device in the market. First of all, I want to point out, because it's more physiological approach that we have in the market, because as you know, if you remember well my previous words, we have the capability to mimic the physiological pulse of our brain differently to other products that maintain the same EMF or TENS stimulation. Completely different. This is another world. But probably it's the last one. I want to underline, and I want to stimulate you. Do not forget how the regeneration is yes, a long-lasting process, not one day, not a week, but it's also important in terms of team, the synergy between the regenerative approach and protocol is the strategic pillars of all the proposal of LifeArm. And so, absolutely, Cellnergy FootCharge awakens nerve and activity, circulation, kickstarting body healing response. But Laminine, I already told you how it's able to stimulate the body's natural regeneration process, helps extend cellular longevity thanks to the modulation, thanks to the stimulation of telomerase, our shortening telomere. Cellnergy Wellness device is the first device that LifeFarm proposed. Don't forget kind of device, because it's focused on the regeneration, in that case using terahertz, and in that case negative ions to support tissue communication. And last but not least, a powerful, in that case, cream, Cellnergy Power Cream, that relieves joint discomfort by reactivating dormant repair cells. And with these terms, the reactivation of dormant repair cells, we come back to the first slide and the topic that we discussed together. All these elements, all these devices, all these products, all if these ingredients of our LifeFarm protocols is in the direction to guarantee you a most effective action in terms of yes, regeneration, but specifically dedicating and focus on dormant cells. That's absolutely a part of our daily life. Okay, that's only for you. I want to put some experience from me, and so that's a sort of a testimonial from me and from some of you, and the benefits that we could immediately feel is warmer, better circulation, reduction of stiffness and discomfort. We absolutely obtain a faster recovery from stress or excessive activity. And last but not least, we feel a sense of vitality and greater energy. That's, I point out, it's from my experience and a sort of summarize of some testimonial experience from you. Okay, thank you. I give absolutely, I am available for your answer, and please don't hesitate to share your experience.
Does the infrared go through the entire body or only impact the feet?
Question, absolutely, it's correct. We obviously have the capability, thanks to, for example, with the first hour device, and so full, in that case, Cellnergy, not for ChurchCharge, but the first one, the Cellnergy, the first one. I don't know. I have had the Cellnergy Wellness device. Okay, wellness device. The Cellnergy Wellness device has the capability to focus on the specific part of our body that has to receive this kind of infrared thermotherapy. And so we have the capability with our device to focus the specific activity in the specific section of our body that has to receive this kind of therapy. But in that case FootCharge, and so the second device is specifically in the feet, but thanks to the capability of nervous system to put in contact with all organs, absolutely, with thanks to this stimulation on the feet and the allocation of the feet, we have a sort of spread of benefits, not infrared, but benefits in all our body. And so it depends obviously to what we have to receive and effort, but for more clarify more more clear to give an answer more clear. In that case, the infrared has the capability to go through the entire body. and the impact it's not only the feet. Obviously, that thanks to the FootCharge, we start to stimulate the feet because of the feet is the basis of all nervous system connection. And so thanks to this kind of benefit, we achieve all the organs. But the infrared could absolutely go through all the organs of our body. If you want to start from another part, we use, in that case, Cellnergy wellness device. That's, as you know, an infrared device, but with the possibility to focus the specific effective in the zone, in the situation, in the tissue that we want to repair and regenerate.
Calcareous in the heels, very painful.
I suggest for this specific illness or disease the mode 2, first of all, for the osteoarthritis, and eventually, if we could decide to start in the second step with the mode 3. And so I suggest to start with the mode 2 and follow with mode 3. This is specifically dedicated to this kind of problem. And so joint, muscle tension, mode 2, and also coordination and reaction in terms of activity of this specific joint for the completion, the whole approach of the problem.
Thank you. Yvette Emma is asking, Doctor, please, can you explain if the FootCharge help people with Parkinson's disease?
We have now data and confirmation about the fact that there is also this kind of support, because as you know, Parkinson is a neurodegenerative disease. There is a big ratio about the fact that FootCharge could help and give an help to this kind of patient, but we had not already confirmed with a publication, like for example, neuropathy. But the neuropathy, it's different, it's an inflammation-based disease. It's more complex Parkinson, as you know, also because of today, it's already discussed how it's the real source and starting phase of this neurodegenerative disease. But I repeat, could be, I suggest to use and to try to use the product because of if probably it's not the solution to this problem, big problem, but could give to this patient an help, sort of more, yes, sustain. It's a sort of sustain to give to this kind of patient in terms of adjuvant approach. And so it's not a solution, it's not a therapy, as you know, because of you not speak about therapy, but could be help, could be an help for this kind of patient. And so try and eventually share with us your experience, because of I suggest, sorry, to try to use the FootCharge also for this kind of patient, specifically for the symptoms, not for the original situation of the disease, but the symptoms. Some of the symptoms could be managed thanks to the FootCharge, in that case, FootCharge, Cellnergy FootCharge, in that case, yes.
Thank you. And Hope is writing us again. If we have another foot device that has PEMF and terahertz, can we use this also because of the other benefits and modes? Meaning, can we use both in the same day? Or are you saying that this device replaces and has all of the same benefits of those foot devices that have PEMF and terahertz?
As I already told, this is a new generation of device because of, and I want to repeat, it's completely different, the concept, scientific concept, because of we have not EMF technical approach, but it's a sort of a mimic pulse, nerve pulse stimulation. And so it's absolutely different in terms of use. And so I suggest that we could really substitute our device with other old, because as you know, the new approach is also in terms of technology able to sustain. Um, Independently to this confirmation, and so please in that case substitute the old one with this one. But if you want to combine, I suggest not in the same day, and so use absolutely, but one day FootCharge and another way the last device that you typically and daily use, but not in the same day. In that way, we could manage in a sort of good protocol the combination of two different devices.
Thank you. And the last question is from Yvette Emma, and she was asking about the Parkinson disease, and she's asking which mode do you recommend?
Good, good question that, because of we have not, as I told you, confirmation about the concrete study results that I hope to share faster with you. First of all, we speak about the ratio on Parkinson disease. I absolutely suggest the mode 5, in which we stimulate circulation and energy. The second mode is important, the 6th mode, because of in that case we has a sort of reactivation of brain signaling through rhythmic reflex style pulse. And so I suggest to start with this combination of mode 5 and 6. Obviously, I suggest to use all in a sort of progressive pathway, all the mode. But if you want to try to restrict and define in a sort of combination, we suggest for this kind of situation 5 and 6. But I repeat, in that case, I suggest to use all different modes in a sort of progressive protocol, in a long-lasting protocol, not in one day, but in a several day, in a sort of long-lasting protocol use. Bye bye. Thank you.